I'm a little scared. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've got to go in. If I don't make it out and someone finds this, please tell my wife and my kids that I love them. And now I've got to go into a grocery store the day before a snowstorm in North Carolina. Oh. Alright, so this day is getting off to an interesting start. As you can see, all of our emergency lights are on. That can only mean one thing. We don't have power. We just found out that a transformer on a utility pole caught fire just down the road, right as all the teachers are arriving. Now, no students are here, but all the kids at the high school behind us are here. We have an elementary school right next door to us. So now we have 3 schools, and we don't know what's going to happen. It's going to take at least an hour probably to get the power on. But the other thing is the kids are going to be wired because, well, it's the eve of a snowstorm. So let's see how this morning goes. Okay, well, the power outage thankfully did not last very long. The power was on before first period was even over. But that's okay, because actually today's lesson was not going to involve any technology at all. In fact, we were going to use some very tried and true ancient technology. We were actually planning to use a textbook today with the things that we were going to do. Which leads me to an important question. What role should technology actually play in education? That's something that we debate all the time here in the school and in the classroom as teachers get together. I know parents are frustrated with the use of technology in the school and whether or not textbooks are available. So I'd be interested to hear from you, particularly if you are a parent with a child in school. How do you feel about textbooks and whether or not you have them? So if you would comment below with your thoughts about that, I'd love to hear them. Hotels in North Carolina that deal with winter weather. And I'm fortunate enough to have actually lived through some of those. And I don't have to just tell the story that I've read in a book. I don't have to tell the story that I was told and then somehow try to put oomph and feeling into it. I lived it. I know what it was like. I'll never forget the great blizzard of 1976 when a whole inch of snow fell. And then there was 1983 when almost 2 whole inches fell. And if it hadn't been for the careful hoarding of milk and bread by my parents, I don't think my family would have survived. You know, all kidding aside, we're looking at a big weather event here in central North Carolina. And that's why I'm sitting by this fire, because we got snow coming. And everyone who's not from North Carolina jokes that the littlest of winter precipitation is impossible for us to handle. That's true. I mean, it is what it is. That's the only thing I can say. We don't get that stuff around here that often. So when we get 5 to 9 inches, which is what they're forecasting for this weekend, it's going to bring everything to a halt.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. If the lights are turned down low, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
And now I've got to go into a grocery store the day before a snowstorm in North Carolina. Oh. Okay, so I came in, I got my important purchases for a successful Friday night. Pizza, ice cream, fruit. Well, it's the morning after the big storm, and it's turned out to be a bust. It's supposed to snow until 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's about 10:30 in the morning, and this is all we got. Maybe a half an inch of sleet everywhere. Cars have got it piled up, but you know, that doesn't count for anything. Okay, update. Just before I'm heading in the house, this actually is transitioning to snow. So I take it back, meteorologist. You've got a few hours to give me some snow before my wife gets really, really upset with you. Thank you.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
It's the day after our first winter weather event here in this part of the state, and there's a lot of disappointed people around the region. About 4 days before this weather came, all the local meteorologists began to talk in a very non-committal way about the potential for snow over the weekend. The closer it got to Friday and the better data they supposedly got, the more confidently they began to speak. However, even as late as Friday afternoon, just a few hours before it all came rolling in, they were all very quick to say that there was still a small chance that this storm would amount to nothing. Even though I'm a science teacher, I won't bore you with why things turned out the way that they did. The lesson in all of this centers around expectations and responsibility. As a middle school teacher, I spend a lot of time teaching adolescents about responsibility. They don't want to pick up a piece of paper because that's not mine. Or I hear from a usually chatty bunch of students that they were not talking when I addressed the whole class to keep it down. If you were to poll any group of teachers and ask them about America's youth, you would inevitably begin to get stories about how today's youth don't want to take responsibility for their behavior, for their learning, for anything. Eventually those teachers will begin to start telling you why that's the case. They'll start blaming the internet, social media, video games, bad parenting. What I have discovered over the years is that placing blame rarely leads to solutions. When our expectations are unmet, it's very easy to allow our frustration to control our responses. We expect our students to be studious. We as parents expect our teachers to make our children learn. As citizens in a snow-deprived state, if you're going to forecast something as wonderful as snow, we expect you to be right on the money. The next time that you're frustrated because your expectations are unmet, step back and examine why. Were your expectations realistic? What things were within your control? What things were within the control of someone else? And how can you go and talk to them about it? Above all else, don't play the blame game. It's starting to get a little bit chilly out here, so I'm going to go back inside now and begin to monitor the school system's Twitter account so I can know whether or not we're having school tomorrow. As always, remember, give somebody a reason to hope and learn something new every day.